All right, let's just get right into it. Imagine spending 50 years of your life championing a new technology, a revolutionary idea. You do it so well that people start calling you the Godfather of AI. That man is Geoffrey Hinton. But now, after building this thing his entire life, he's sounding a huge alarm. And you have to ask yourself, why? So after a decade at Google, where he was basically leading their entire AI division, Hinton did something pretty wild. He quit. Not to take a better job, not to ride off into the sunset. No, he quit for one reason and one reason only. So he could be completely free to tell the world about the risks of the very technology he helped bring to life. So what on earth did he see that made him walk away? To really get why he's so worried, we have to understand the tech itself. See, Hinton realized that what we're building, it's not just a smarter version of us. These digital minds are a fundamentally different kind of intelligence. And in a lot of ways, they're just better. And this slide really breaks it down. Our intelligence, it's analog, right? It's stuck inside our squishy brains. And when we die, all that knowledge we've gathered just goes with us. But digital intelligence, it's basically immortal. You can have thousands, even millions, of perfect clones of the same AI. They can all go out, learn different things, and then, bam, instantly merge all that knowledge together. They can share trillions of bits of information in a second. We're lucky if we can share 10. Okay, so when you have something with that kind of superhuman ability, the risks, well, they get really big, really fast. And Hinton gives us a super simple but really powerful way to think about these dangers. He splits them into two totally different categories of threats we need to be thinking about. So this is the key distinction to get. On one side, you've got the short-term problems. That's the bad actors, the humans using AI as a weapon or a tool for all sorts of nasty stuff. And on the other side, you have the long-term, maybe even existential threat, the risk that the AI itself gets out of our control. Let's start with that first bucket, because this isn't science fiction. These are the dangers that are already here, like right now. They're being used by people today. I mean, the scale of this is just wow. AI is turbocharging cyber attacks, making phishing scams way more believable. It's helping people design new bioweapons. It's creating these powerful tools for mass manipulation that can completely corrupt elections. And yeah, it's making war cheaper with things like autonomous battle robots. All of this is happening as we speak, all driven by money and power. But here's the thing. As terrifying as all of that is, it's the second category of risk that really keeps Hinton up at night. This is the big one. This is the existential threat that made him walk away from his dream job. It's the problem of what happens when we're not the smartest things on the planet anymore. He asks us to just think about a really simple question, one that humanity has literally never had to face before. What does it actually feel like when you are no longer at the top of the intellectual food chain? And his answer is as sharp as it is chilling. Just 2 words, ask a chicken. You know, in a world with a smarter intelligence, we might just become the chickens. It's a brutal way to put it, but it makes you feel the potential power shift, not just think about it. He uses another great analogy to explain what he calls the control problem. He says, imagine we're raising this little tiger cub. It's cute, it's fascinating, it's amazing to watch it learn. But we have absolutely no guarantee that when that tiger grows up, we'll be able to control it if it decides we're in its way. So what are the odds this goes really, really wrong? When you push him on it, Hinton gives his best guess, his gut feeling. He thinks there is a 10 to 20% chance that super intelligent AI will eventually wipe humanity out. Just let that sink in for a second. That's coming from the guy who knows this stuff better than almost anyone alive. Okay, so let's say we get lucky. Let's say we manage to dodge that existential bullet. Hinton warns that the impact on our society is still going to be absolutely massive. It's going to reshape everything, our jobs, our economy, the very fabric of how we live. And he gives this perfect real-world example. He talks about his own niece. A task at her job used to take her about 25 minutes. Now, with an AI assistant, it takes her 5. Now, that's a huge boost in productivity, right? But it also means one person can now do the work of 5 people, which means 4 of those 5 jobs, what he calls mundane intellectual labor, could just poof, vanish. So what's his career advice in this new world? And he's dead serious when he says this. He says, train to be a plumber. And why a plumber? Because jobs that require you to physically move around and manipulate complex things in the real world, well, they might be the very last things to get automated. And you can probably see where this is headed economically. As AI takes over more and more jobs, the wealth is just going to flow to the people who own the AI. Hinton warns this is going to create a massive, massive gap between the rich and the poor, and that leads to, in his words, very nasty societies. So what can we possibly do? Well, Hinton doesn't think we can stop AI development. That genie is out of the bottle. Instead, he says we, the public, have to put immense pressure on our governments. And those governments have to pressure the big tech companies to force them to pour enormous resources into safety research. It has to become their #1 priority. But will it work? Can we actually pull this off? This, to me, is the most sobering part of his whole message. Because when you ask the Godfather of AI if he's hopeful, if he thinks we'll get it right, his honest answer is, I genuinely don't know. And that leaves us with his final urgent question to all of us. He says we have to seriously face the possibility that we might be near the end. And if there's even a small chance that's true, shouldn't we be throwing every resource we have at figuring this out? Like right now?